start in the bottom right. It's not the pregame. It's time for his team. One of the top Terrans showcasing, well, his highlight match recently against Cyril, showing immaculate, some of the best Marine micro we've ever seen. Now, this isn't a TVZ. His opponent is not Cyril. His opponent, they allowed apparently to use a barcode in the middle of a professional match. But let me introduce you to, ironically enough, the opposite of his name many of the times. It's Innovation. But we have done our best. We've gotten all our producers together. Our lead producer, Jimmy, decided that just putting a barcode up would be boring. So he will be represented by his likeness during these games. I believe there are 2 games. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's a best-of-3 format. Or it is just simply an all-kill format where there's... I don't know. There are 2 recommended games. I don't know if that's how many they played. All I know is it's a sick Terran versus Terran between 2 top Terrans. Obviously, I should stop talking and just reset and get back to it. First off, Innovation is trying to hide that he's not proxying. Whereas Time is just kind of doing a 1-rax expanding, ignoring all of that. Innovation just built all of his buildings near the edge of his main, so if an SCV scout comes in, or even maybe a Reaper comes in, it's like, oh, wait a second, is this a proxy? Well, I actually want to circle back. The reason why it's a little ironic that Innovation calls himself that is because his builds are usually anything but innovative. He works out the perfect strategy. He has pinpoint, machine-like execution. If you ever watch his stream or whenever he wins in tournaments, he doesn't seem to have any emotions. So, he is nicknamed the Robot. Because of that lack, that almost mechanical lack of empathy for his opponents or just for himself. So the little mind game that Innovation did here, not going to pay off because Time just decided, well, I'm doing my build. This will happen in TVT. TVT is about technical details. Every mirror matchup is, but TVT really, every specific unit and choice in the first 5 minutes of the game can have reverberating effects that ripple through the mid-game and on. There can be an advantage gained at the 4-minute mark, like, I don't know, somebody picks off a tank or a Raven. Almost certainly we'll see a Raven from one, if not both players. And then, despite the fact they don't engage for a while after that, that doesn't mean that advantage is not there. The advantages can manifest themselves several minutes later, whenever finally the armies hit a critical mass, and one player is able to get map control. So, a passive start thus far. Jimmy, we gotta adjust the sound just to make sure. There you go. I want to feel like I'm there. Alright, if I don't feel like I'm there, what's the point? StarCraft is an immersive game. It takes your heart and your soul and your CPU if you are a red Terran. But it takes all of it. One Raven. Well, everybody loves Ravens, as always. The Raven is almost... If I can bring you back to the old, some might say the good old days, some might not, but the days of the Mothership Corps. A unit that essentially was required at most points, especially in the early mid-game for defense and utility. The Raven is kind of like that, to be honest, in Team... Well, wow. What a complete... Innovation with a surprising commitment. I like what Time did. Time recognized that Innovation was trying to spot, so he moved his unit so they weren't firing until the Reapers jumped up. Innovation looked to see if there were units on the high ground, but Time reacted quick enough to bait Innovation into the jump and slaughter 2 Reapers. So, Time's going to find himself with a slight lead, a couple workers ahead, because he did expand earlier. He took out those Reapers, so there's no threat of early pressure. Time invested in a bunker because he did go for the quicker expo. Third command center for Innovation, who's also opting for stim early on. He's going to be slapping down a few more racks. Time hasn't fully committed yet to going bio. Just building a bunch of Marines early is by no means a commitment. More Ravens on the way. Only a single Raven for Innovation. He opted for just the one, and that's still a solid tool. Having interference matrix, potentially disable tanks, anti-armor missile increases the DPS of Marines and tanks a huge amount. It's gonna be Marine tank versus Marine tank. The classic exchange. A battle of wills, a battle of gumption, and more importantly, a battle of air control and concaves. There's a lot of little tactics you can do, but really it does come down to what are the upgrade timings? Does one player have significant air control? Can they leverage that into Liberators? Does Innovation want to lose 2 medevacs of units early on? Because this is risky. Innovation decided to get 2 quick medevacs. He doesn't even have that many Marines, but he does have stim. This is an express highway to potentially losing 20 supply here, or something around it. If he does not pull those back, like between the Raven, the Vikings, the Cyclone, oh, he has his own Raven. Okay, wait. Oh, does he scan? Because the scan might give it away is the thing. If he scans, then Time's going to be watching. Time already has, his star senses are tingling. He knows the threat of a drop is there. Time actually has 2 Ravens. He's going to stop there, but that allows him a little bit more flexibility, especially on defense. Come on, are you going? He's just gonna chill here. He's waiting for his moment. Once again, TVT is close to a chess match. You move your pieces around, and you only have so many to work with, especially early on. He scans the main. He's trying to make it look good. All right, he's trying to sell it. He's looking for the units, but also like, I'm looking at your production. I'm not doing anything crazy. Guess what? Time's not buying what he's selling. He's got double turret, moving units out. This Hellion, though, it spots the Vikings and Raven. Does he move in? No. Actually, he's going to back off because the Vikings and Raven are headed straight towards those medevacs. Vikings looking for an opportunity. The turret taking some pot shots. The TPM paying off here. There's still a tank at home. He's going all the way to the main. He's trying to bait the units out of position. Innovation going to come up. A scan. Time realizes he has a vulnerable point. There's a scan at the 3rd. Time is kind of freaking out a little bit, like, where in the hell are your units? He realizes the weak point. Time definitely playing very smart. He even though he hasn't really seen any of Innovation's units, there's only so many options for where they are. At this level, these chess grandmasters always trying to be not 1, but 2 to 3 steps ahead. And that is how you win TVT. If you're 2+ steps ahead, that's how you get into position with your siege tanks and take a game-winning fight potentially, or at least one that gives you a huge advantage. But Time is recognizing his vulnerabilities. He's shoring up his defenses all the while, throwing his macro together. His upgrades are slightly quicker than that of his robot counterpart. Innovation, though, even on workers. I mean, look at the supply. For a second, it was even. It's not even anymore. Give it a couple seconds. But so far, Innovation has lost a couple Vikings, a couple Reapers, and that makes up most of the supply gap right now. Are the armories done? Do both players have armories? Yeah, both players have armories. They can start that 2-2. Innovation does right off the bat. Time a little slow on his +2 armor. Innovation continually the pseudo-aggressor. He hasn't actually attacked besides those Vikings, but he's waiting right on the edge of Sensor Tower. Wow. He's really playing the positional game there. Skirting the very... He's waiting for units to just walk down here. He's not going to be caught unawares. He's already sieged up. Widowmine spotted. Time finally feeling confident enough to move out. He's got a 10 supply lead. It's really going to come down to the numbers in these fights. Innovation, better concave. Both sides have Marines and medevacs. Innovation has a couple more, and that can spiral. Time... a little sloppy. He sent these out to scout, but then pulled them back. Maybe a Selecto army? Maybe. Time. Oh, what a scan! He finds it. He's going for it. Scrambles everything! Oh, a complete wipe. A disaster for Innovation. Time jumps him. He thought he had a position. No. The Ravens wiped all the tanks and some of the medevacs as well, so he couldn't load up and get away. Time was not having any of that. He knows. He feels them. This isn't like, oh, he got lucky. No. These players are that good. Innovation knows where Time could be, and Time has strong suspicions as to where Innovation will be, because you just got to think, what if the board was flipped, what would you do? And that's what these players work off of. But despite losing all that, Innovation still has plenty of production. He's only 10 supply down. Time, that secures his 4th base, but because he's much more reliant on unit composition, he's heavier on the tanks, and, well, he's about even on the Vikings. Innovation looking for an opportunity. Might be able to snipe a tank. Well, not a great timing here for Time to be losing this opportunity. He doesn't want to lose too many tanks. That's his big advantage right now. Upgrades finishing up. SCVs being slaughtered. Time trying to split off the correct amount of units. The Marines are dueling it out. Eventually will be cleaned up, and so will the medevac. So, well, Innovation has bought himself some of his opponent, but time is running out for Time's attack to be timed out. The tank count, 11 tanks. He's got the 2 Ravens to leverage. There's not that many medevacs. Only 2 medevacs for Innovation. They're really pressing air control right now. Air control, well, not only for vision, but potentially for Liberators to start sieging up the tanks. Innovation trying to play some aggressive defense. Both sides, 2-2 is finished up. Oh, Ravens, a little vulnerable. The Vikings coming forward. We're the Vikings of Time. Taking some pot shots from the torpedoes. Innovation continually playing this aggressive game and succeeding at it. Wow, Time actually moving up. He's going to lose a couple tanks for that. The Ravens, so valuable. The Viking count is so important. Innovation down to 7. Time maintaining 11. He's bleeding a few units out, but air control is going to be the difference here. He scrambles a couple tanks, doesn't get all of them, loses a Raven. But the tanks are edging forward. The tank count, 8-7. Not a decisive advantage for either side. They both have +1 done. +1 mech allows you to 3-shot enemy tanks without armor upgrades. If you do not have that upgrade, it's 4 shots. So that's a significant difference, especially when moving forward into a tank line. But they both have it. Innovation has somehow slipped around with all his Marines. Is he looking for a flank? Time realizes this very quickly. Now he's in sensor tower range. Is there an anti-armor missile? That could decide the fight. He throws it in. The Cheeto dust covered all the Marines! -3 armor and minus all life. As Time chases down the Marines, the rest of the tanks, he'll buy time to back off here. No, he's not there. He's got to get out of there. Oh, Innovation. He gets most of the Marines out. It feels like Time continually trying to find a position for his better army to engage, but he did lose his Ravens. The Ravens are gone. He has 17 Vikings. Innovation has no air units, but he's building 5 medevacs at a time. So let's point that one out. The tank lines are drawn. The Viking count is overwhelming. Liberators on the way, but Liberator range is coming up for Innovation actually first. They advance ballistics. And that is the leverage you have with air control. The first Liberator comes up. The tank's going to make a no man's land. Innovation forced to back off. Now cut off from his 4th base. 3-3 finishing up for both sides on the ground. Innovation still a ton of Marines. He's looking for a mega flank, but Time is using this position well. He'll trade Marines for a Liberator. It's not cheap. Another Liberator finding SCVs. Innovation can't be everywhere at once. He should be multi-threaded. The Liberator even going to run around and siege up again. Picked off at 9 SCVs. Not a huge blow here with this many bases intact, but this position is really going to be tough to dislodge. Innovation has the Marines from the back. He's holding. He's holding. He's waiting for his moment. Time might be biting off a little more than he can chew. Innovation deciding on whether or not he's going to counterattack. He has to make very tough decisions. He'll cut off the reinforcements. This is what Time needed to finally break Innovation, but guess what? The Marines are here. And now the Liberators on the retreat snapped up every single one of the Liberators. That's exactly what Innovation needed. Not only does he take out the reinforcements, he takes out those key units, tanks, Liberators, drags the army off his front lawn, and throws it back to his side of the map. The Vikings chase down what medevacs are left over, but those are Marines traded for key starport and factory units. Marines are expendable, no matter what the propaganda says. 112 Marines against 90 lost. Innovation maintains near 200 supply. He's pretty much opened up. Every advantage that Time had is mostly gone here. Time has a couple more, well, one more Viking. He's got less tanks. Time has a couple Liberators, but if the Viking count is too high, the Liberators can soak some damage. The tank's doing devastating damage here. What are the air upgrades? +1 ship weapons is done for Time. He doesn't have the +2 mech, though. They're working on double armory, both of them. The Marines have maxed out upgrades. The Liberator eating some shots. The tanks trading blows. Once again, Innovation has split off all of his Marines. A gamble every time, but it's paid off. Innovation has more Marines. Now he can't beat the tanks. Is he going to go for the flank? 1 or 2 tank shots definitely change the equation. The standoff. Just a pixel or 2 out of range of that planetary fortress. Time is kind of up against it now. Oh my god. He doesn't see the tanks. The scan. He's in planetary range. Time only has a single tank to help. He might just lose the planetary. Here comes a Liberator. The Viking's gonna box it out. It does have range done. The Liberator holds the line. Both sides maxed out. It's all about position. Well, near maxed out. It's all about position. Time is building 3 command centers. But if he can't mine for many locations, that doesn't matter much. Innovation once again has most of his Marines over on the side here. Oh, a bit of a gamble moving forward. Innovation forced to unsiege. A lot of the Marines moving forward. Innovation's Marines looking for a trade. Time has to scramble back. A decent fight. Well, Innovation's supply is still near 200. Time is dipping heavily. But a lot of that supply is in these Marines. Time pushes him off of the 5th base. But he has to deal with the massive Marine squad stimming into his natural. What is on the high ground here? Time wasn't building much. There are no tanks up there. Down goes the orbital. Whoa, I spoke too soon. The Vikings doing their best. Innovation's going to want to trade for Vikings if possible. He snaps it all out. Meanwhile, the Vikings looking for an opportunity. Will he actually drop them on the tanks? He wants to minimize damage. But the tanks getting overeager there. Fire on the Viking. Kill one of their own. That will force Time to back off. He is down by 40 supply. Despite winning both fights, the war is still very much in doubt. Building armor is finishing. Maybe take a couple more tank shots, but Time, he has to either win a decisive fight or maybe start a base trade. He's running out of himself. Oh, the tanks were actually right-clicked on the planetary, meaning they missed a volley on the sieging tanks of Time. The Liberator siege up. That should be able to take out this location. Time will just trade the Vikings. He will win that. Innovation continually building those starport units up. Time is at 126 supply. Innovation is just a few moves away from checkmate. Sensor towers dotting the map. There's literally no way to get a sneaky counterattack by on the Innovation side. But Time still banking on air control, ranged Liberators. He's putting all his eggs in that basket. He's been doing that most of the game, to be honest. It's been Innovation outmaneuvering, but Time with a stronger army. $123 to 91 army supply. 2 battle cruisers for Innovation. He's feeling like he can find that endgame. Oh. Well, he can fly faster than he can run for now. Are there any tanks back here? He has to unload all these Marines. You got to be very careful of how you engage this. Innovation, a whole lot of Marines trying to bust through a tank on the high ground. He's going to siege up another one. The other tank's slightly out of position. The tank's adding a lot of damage, but is it enough? Oh my god. Just sheer Marines busting through towards the main. Can Time hold on? He drops the Vikings, a sign of desperation, but that will allow him to hold for now. Looks like there was a Liberator taken out by turrets down here. This Liberator racked up 6 kills. Innovation losing a few workers. Time, he keeps it together. He's mining from other bases. He no longer is forced to defend this one very forward base. He's going to have to pull the SCVs away. High sec auto tracking about to finish for Innovation. Time is just going for it. He says it's not going to get any better from here. 2 battle cruisers are already done. A lot of Vikings for Innovation, more so than his opponent. The tanks will siege, but guess what? That's not going to cut it. Down he goes. Innovation. A victory in the first match. A solid, he just kept the pressure on the whole time. It is risky to do that, by the way. It's risky to continually, like splitting all your Marines off of your army. If you don't manage it well, then he kind of just will kill you. I know it's not the most elegant description, but he will kill you. Oh no, they're on different parts. Jimmy! Call the production team! And we did it. Now, the thing is, well, I'm trying to think, what did time do wrong? Well, the decisive moment in the previous match was when Innovation's Marine counterattack caught all those key units reinforcing, like the Liberators and the tanks, and dragged the whole army back as well as cutting off key reinforcements. That was kind of just losing track of what Innovation's options were. And getting punished about as hard as you could for it. Innovation really, it's kind of rare to see players open up with that, like that quick stim style, only making one Raven. There were so many moving parts then. There was so much that could have gone wrong. Time thinks there's a proxy, or is at least scouting for one there is not. So many moving parts and so many things that could have gone wrong, but they didn't. They went right. So Innovation takes the game. It just never felt like Time was ever really dictating what was happening, if that makes sense. Like, he countered, he reacted, but he was never proactive. Not really. Innovation looking for proxies as well. He opted for the double gas opener. Now he's pulled out to 2 in each gas to expand a little bit quicker. This is to get your tech out at the cost of a slower command center. A Whittle Mine has become a part. Well, I was gonna say a staple, but not really. It's become not uncommon. Special does this a lot in TVT as well with the Whittle Mine early. Fun fact: Whittle Mine's one-shot every unit that can be built early game up until like a siege tank. It one-shots a Cyclone, a Hellion, a Reaper. Now, on maps that do not have a ramp you can really utilize, it's less effective. But catching any of those early units, it's relatively cheap for what it is. And if you do happen to get a hit on any of those early units, you've taken a lot of pressure off. Raven, the mothership core of Terran. A Cyclone for Time, a tank for Innovation. Is he doing the same build? That would be very Innovation-esque. To do the same build twice. It's like, well, it worked, didn't it? I at no point did I feel like I was losing that game. He's actually going to slap down the command center on the third base. And now that we have a little bit of downtime, I'd like to think Wardy. If you guys don't know Wardy, 3 eyes on Twitch. I believe it is, which is a little confusing because his YouTube is Wardy TV. But if you subscribe to his channel on Twitch, he sends out a well-titled, a solid replay pack with hundreds of replays every month that he casts. So that way, anybody can check out those games and do with them what they will. So thank you to Wardy, and check out the full version, the full unabridged version of so many tournaments over there. This is not the same build from Innovation. I believe that... Wait, was that a second Raven? Yes, second Raven. No second barracks as of yet. This is just straight up slugging it out. Super greed, super macro. Well, greed is a bit strong of a word. What did the Widowmine get? The Widowmine got either an SCV or a Reaper. I feel like it was a Reaper. The scan. Now cancel them and go mech. No. A counter scan. Now cancel it and go mech. No. We are... This is about as close as you'll get in a pro match to no rush 10 minutes. Where, yeah, they'll poke and prod. But neither player is going to have an army especially capable of attacking for, like, the first 8 minutes of the match. This is them keeping each other honest, poking around. But Innovation has gone 3cc, double engineering bay. Time added on his barracks a little quicker, so his upgrades are behind. His production will come up quicker. But it's also 3cc, double engi bay. So, a gentleman's agreement, and also acknowledging that this is one of the largest and most defensible maps in the map pool. We've seen so many games that are closer to, well, closer to an hour than not. This is probably the most common map, possibly in the history of, in the hidden, the vision. I was gonna say in the bushes, because it's usually a set of bushes, but it's just vision blockers here. It's like the fog of war that denies spotting inside of it. Did he not find the like, is that Widowmine gonna get another kill? He didn't find the Widowmine that killed his Marine. The saga of the Widowmine continues. Everybody's macroing up. 3 more racks, going up to 5 for Innovation. Time, does he already have his 5? He does. His production just a little quicker. So we'll see Time with a supply advantage. They're already at a... Now the question will be, do we fight before 200 supply? Is this the most straight up, like, take 10 paces, turn backs, turn around, take 10 paces, build 5 racks, 3 command centers, double upgrade, and then turn and draw? Is this the type of TVT duel we're having? Because so far, yes. The mind move, yes. Combat shields. The scans. Just everybody side-eyeing each other. A 155 supply for Time. Everybody's still just chilling in their corners. Time decided to slap down the CC at the 4th. Innovation, a little bit more conservative, keeping it on the high ground, but getting it slightly quicker. Sensor towers coming up from both sides within 2 seconds of each other. 2-2. All right. 164 supply. It looks like Time. No, he's just going to open up the map, make sure he doesn't get cut off. Now, Innovation's going to move out to take its 4th, but still, 9 minutes, and still nothing but a bit of skirmishing. Time is nearly maxed. He will be moving out. The first aggressive intentions. Scans from both sides. After being scanned, he will tuck his metaphorical tail between his legs and work around the side. The vision game has begun. Will time be able to max out before 10 minutes? 191, 193, 196. One more round. 196. Build units. Ruined. He doesn't. He does not. So the board is set. If you thought last game was a chess match, it was closer to chess boxing. This is actually chess. Everybody has their pieces. They could rebuild them if they need to, but right now we're maxed out. 2-2 finishing up. Fusion core for both sides. Command centers, more starports. Scans to keep them honest. Nobody wanting to commit to anything. Are we gonna go straight to battle cruisers and or ranged liberators before we even have a rifle-based conversation? This is, I feel like this is innovation almost wanting to get rid of these Marines. Like, he doesn't even want Marines anymore. Time has slightly more money in the bank. I'm not sure how much of a factor that's going to end up being, but oh, I guess here we go. Double drop coming in for innovation. There is some anti-air, but he can drop over the top. It looks like, oh, here comes the anti-armor missile. Down goes the tank. Everything's sieging up. It is within range, but innovation gets a nice drop, and we're going from 0 all the way up to 100. Innovation slaughtering every SCV at that base. 18 SCVs go down. He will be able to replace them, but down goes the orbital time, backs off. He's not going to risk losing his army and also the rest of his production. All right, Time's had enough of this. He's going to clean it up. So innovation, blows are traded, and in the first round, innovation I think gets the better trade. Loses his double drop, but kills a whole base and all the SCVs. Whereas back at home, he lost a few Vikings and a tank. So. Sensor towers in almost identical locations, giving potential vision out of important areas, but without being vulnerable to just getting picked off immediately. The Marine divisions. Time committing more. Okay. As they have their expendable death squads throughout the map. Innovation, always ready to transition to battle cruisers. Battle cruisers are operational. Meanwhile, Time is opting for Ravens with, oh my god, hello starports. He's getting advanced ballistics. He's getting +1 ship weapons. He actually just finished that up, but innovation just finished +2 ship weapons. We've almost entirely skipped over the Marine tank portion of the game. Not quite. Like, we still got to put a nod to it, but despite both players going fully Marine tank, we've kind of just skipped that part. Innovation probably not going to be able to break that location, but he's got enough Marines to make things annoying. 2 battle cruisers versus 3 Marines. Who's going to take it? The Marine squad's just roaming back and forth. Innovation, just trying to stay mobile. It's about supply efficiency now. Where are the anti-armor missiles? There they are. Oh, so important for the battle cruisers. Innovation losing his Ravens. No, he doesn't lose the second one. He's going to fight the turret straight up. That anti-armor missile is absolutely massive. Another Raven soaks some damage. The battle cruisers being beaten back. He loses the BCs. Innovation going deep in the paint. Where are you going? Underneath the turret. So confident, but without much to back it up. What are the upgrades? +1 with a no armor against 2-1. The Venn Diascan there. For both sides trying to keep track. 3 more battle cruisers for innovation. Ravens and Vikings for Time. He's got to catch up on those air upgrades. Yeah, innovation like, well, now I have the happy ships. My flying laser bathtubs are unstoppable by your little tiny... Wait a second. Yeah, Vikings do a lot of damage to battle cruisers, especially if left mostly unchecked. Oh, we're going battle cruiser against battle cruiser. All right, Bronze League here. But scaled up to about 7,000 MMR. We're making battle cruisers. And we're going to shoot Yamato cannons with a bunch of tanks, and that's the plan. Yep, that's a dead tank. Just a bunch of Marines. This is Innovation trying to get rid of his Marines. He's going to succeed, I believe. Well, wait. Uh-oh. He might win the fight. Does he have enough? There's another tank at the back. The Marines are on the run. They're not going to make it. Their purpose was to die. So that way, to free up more supply for battle cruisers, mostly. There's looking like two campaign missions here. Both sides with more buildings and units than some bronze players have made in their entire career. High-sec auto-tracking and neo-steel armor for innovation. How many command centers now? We got more CCs than some terrible email chains. On both sides, 5 orbitals against 8. How many 2 planetaries apiece. Some more command centers on the way. Scans across the... I don't know. There are scans. Just figure it out. 2 battle cruisers. When you have 8 orbitals, I think you can have 1 scan online at literally all times. Yamato, those are some very dead Vikings. Will that battle cruiser... Does he jump? Meanwhile, 2 more battle cruisers. He jumps away. These battle cruisers... He has tactical jump. He's actually killing a lot of SCVs. Jump! Jump! He jumped. Battle cruiser is very valuable. Time has yet to lose one. The banks start to build. 7 battle cruisers for Inno and 21 Vikings against 5 and 19. But the scrambles are there. Yamato cannon, beautiful anti-armor missile, but he scrambles all the cruisers. The Vikings, that anti-armor though, the Marines underneath that, he had a lot of DPS. Can he take out... Why is he fighting with anti-armor missile all over him? He's losing so many Vikings. Oh no, I don't know what Tom was thinking there. Maybe he can't see orange, but with the Cheeto dusting all over those Vikings, there was no way he was coming out on top of that fight. Even if he had a few more Vikings. That anti-armor definitely adds a lot. Even for Vikings, adds a lot of DPS. Especially considering that Innovation has +3, +2. Time doesn't actually have those maxed out upgrades yet. +3 armor's about to finish. We're pre-20 minutes. We're cutting the map in half about as quick as you can slice it. Battle cruisers with tactical jump off their cooldown. We might get to the awkward part where there's not really any ground units left. Scans across the board. Innovation just pushing the issue. The battle cruisers could jump back in. But is there enough anti-air? He jumps the battle cruisers and he's going to need to throw everything out there. The spellcasting. Innovation jumps his cruisers away. He wanted to make sure they didn't get scrambled. Jump around. This base is... I hesitate to call it Time's territory, but if we slice the map in half, is this a base that, can Time take the base on the opposite side? If Innovation can take both of the corners, then the center bases become the contest. With their very lucrative rich Vespine geysers. Neither player has a huge bank. In fact, Time isn't even maxed out and doesn't have the minerals. The Marines, can they find a single target to kill? They scratch the paint on a battle cruiser. Meanwhile, a battle cruiser's over here. Do they have jump? They don't have jump. Here comes some Ravens and Vikings. Innovation has jump. He scrambles the cruisers. Time. I don't know if battle cruisers are the best unit to be trading with. Here comes the fleet. Another. He's just perma-scrambling. That battle cruiser dies in darkness. It feels like innovation is just winning the war. Time built a whole bunch of Ravens, but has yet to really get any serious value out of them. They're expensive, they're gas heavy, but pound for pound, if you don't have units with them, they don't solve problems on their own. They don't have the Seeker missiles of old. He needs to anti-armor, auto-turret, and scramble half the army simultaneously to even have a chance of winning a fight. He's still building Ravens! I don't like, what is his plan? To permanently interference matrix the entire army? This is the awkward part where there's no anti-ground besides battle cruisers and Ravens. Innovation has 12 battle cruisers. That's a lot of battle cruisers! I don't know what Time's plan is, because Innovation is just kind of taking everything. He's kind of just busting around with the battle cruisers. Meanwhile, how do you, like, you gotta stop the fleet. This is it. He's gotta do it now. Where are the anti-armor missiles for both sides? Yeah, they don't do damage, though. They make them very insecure. Oh my god, Time is losing battle cruisers to mass turret. The TPM. Oh, he jumps on top of everything. Where are the scrambles across the board? Now or never. This is it. The Marines gotta get involved. Beautiful interference matrices. Huge fight for Time. Is there a jump ready? He jumped on top. That means he can't jump away. Time turns it around. He waited. He held on to the Ravens for so long. And Innovation just dunked off the rim. He went for the finisher, and Time sidestepped him. Oh, Innovation, so greedy. Jumping on top of a dozen Ravens. Of all the ways to lose your battle cruisers, that is one of the only ones. I mean, Innovation still has... What are the incomes? Yeah, he can still rebuild. He had a bank to rebuild already, but you can't just throw battle cruisers at your opponent and hope for the best. This isn't the end of the Heart of the Swarm cinematic, where a battle cruiser just crashes in and, I assume, blows up everything, or at least that's what's implied. Still, though, these turrets need to be chipped down. They do have armor. Innovation's still pumping out the battle cruisers. He's got 11 against 0. Now, Time has decided to fight it with more finesse. Vikings and Ravens. Innovation has 24 Vikings. So does Time. But there's also 11 battle cruisers. Time is reinvested in Marines. An anti-armor missile from... Wait, there's no anti-armor. There's no anti-armor from Time. Where are the scrambles? Anti-armor is massive in this fight. But there's still a whole lot of Vikings from Inno. There are no Ravens from Innovation. The Ravens could change everything. I don't know if they will, but they could. Innovation's still bullying forward. Time, he needs this base. He can't just give this up. Innovation has taken his... That one is definitely on his side. Anti-armor missiles, scrambles, essentially the rest of the energy. As many scrambles as he's got. He even scrambles the tanks. But is there enough? The fleet, with overwhelming force, is called in. It's not enough. A dozen battle cruisers. How many battle cruisers were lost? 16. Didn't matter. Innovation just inexorably expanding over the entirety of the map. Time desperately trying to hold on to anything. But no, he could not. Innovation built the battle cruisers and never let up just the suffocating pressure of this massive fleet. Building dozens of turrets. I mean, look at that base. He has 20 turrets, like right here. Okay, it's like 12, but he's not screwing around. So, Innovation honestly just looking a step ahead of time throughout that. Time putting up a fight, but not winning it. Did you enjoy that TVT experience? The chess boxing and the chess match, the battle cruisers? Well, if this is on YouTube, make sure to smash that like button so you can find more videos where people sit back for 10 minutes and show you how to actually build up an army instead of panicking every 4 seconds. If it's not, well, give me a cap in the chat and or the YouTube comments. And also ring the bell, because YouTube really likes that. Something algorithm, something save esports, something Terran should be removed from the game. Thank you. Thank you to Wardy for the replays. Congratulations, innovation. GG.